They are finally back, the manga overviews. So join me, the Uncanny Omar, for an overview of the Blade of the Immortal Deluxe Edition Volume 5 and Berserk Deluxe Edition Volume 10. Let's get this started. Before getting started, a huge thank you to Dark Horse Comics for not only sending us copies of these deluxe editions, but also approving these type of videos. So, this feels like revisiting old friends. Welcome back to the manga overviews. And I'm so happy that it gets to be Berserk and Blade of the Immortal, two of my favorite manga of all time. And before going any further, I do want to take this time to say thank you to all of you that have been asking about the manga overviews, that have watched all my manga overviews since Berserk Volume 1. I think that was my #1 most watched video here. Anyway, all those videos are now back on the channel because of the thing that happened a couple of months ago with the copyright strikes, and I made a video about that. But let's stay positive. Let's talk about these books. But I did want to take time to say thank you to all of you that have been asking and have been patient. And we are officially back now with the manga overviews. So both of these are in hardcover format. However, of course, the big differences are that Blade of the Immortal reads from the Western style of comic book storytelling, so the left to right, whereas Berserk reads from the traditional Japanese right to left format. And we'll go over that here in a little bit. But the other big difference is, of course, if you've watched my videos in the past with these particular books in them, the spines. Blade of the Immortal uses a flat spine design, whereas Berserk Deluxe editions all have a curved spine. And the backs of the books, just this fake leather look to them. I love it. I think they look beautiful in this format. Whereas Berserk is just plain and simple, has the brand of the sacrifice right there. Blade of the Immortal actually has our two main characters, Manji and Rin, in the center right there. Both of them do come with leaflets that you all know I love to keep. This is Blade of the Immortal here, telling you a little bit of what's found in this particular Deluxe Edition and Berserk Deluxe Edition Volume 10 right there. Both of these retail for $49.99. So let's go ahead and get started talking about Blade of the Immortal. This opened. This is the one that reads left to right format, and that's the way it's always been translated here in America. And I'm sure most of the purists or people new to manga are wondering why in the hell did they do that. I'll explain that here in a little bit in case I haven't explained it. I'm pretty sure I have in my previous videos. Here are all the credits, the translations, and this is dedicated to Torrin Smith, who passed away. So Blade of the Immortal, before getting started, this is a quick translation as to why the artwork was made in this particular format. It explains the swastika right here that Manji wears and what exactly it means during this time in Japan. And we kick it off with Mirror of the Soul. The cover's in black and white. As a matter, all the covers are in black and white, and I'll talk a little bit about that here in a second. The chapter's called Shadows, and this particular book contains Mirror of the Soul, Last Blood, and the Trickster story arcs. So these have been previously released in three... Actually, let's talk about that. These were previously released in single issue format. That's right, all of the old school manga readers remember collecting these in single issues when Dark Horse was releasing them every month. And that was just a very common thing back then in the early 90s, late 80s, all the way up until the late 90s is when they started going more towards the tankobon. So after a few issues, they would release a trade paperback in a smaller scale format. This is long before we even knew what a tankobon was here in America. But that's the way this was released. So then we had those smaller scale trade paperbacks. And then eventually, years later, Dark Horse released a softcover omnibus editions, pretty much 3 volumes in one, which is exactly what these are. But this is a nicer leather-bound, or fake leather, rather, hardcover format. It's just the same thing that's collected in the omnibus editions. Now, why it's left to right, that's the way it's always been translated. You see, back then, a lot of the manga publishers, whether it was Iron Cat Studios, whether it was CMP, whether it was Viz, whether it was Dark Horse, they would take manga from Japan and mirror the images to make it more accessible to American readers. I have some friends that cannot read manga because it reads from right to left. So that's what they were trying to do when bringing manga over. They were trying to accommodate for the readers here in America and keep it in a Western style. mirroring the images. So pretty much that means that they were just flipping the images. This is the very first manga that they actually decided not to just purely mirror it, but try to capture it in its purest art form. And that took time because they would cut out the pictures and place them on new paper. Now, of course, they couldn't do that with spread pages, meaning that sometimes you'll see a character that's left-handed, be right-handed, and so on and so forth. But I'll talk a little bit about this particular story right here. It's Mirror of the Souls, because this one is a big, important part. We've seen the story of these characters right here, Manji and Rin. And by the way, if you've not read any of this, maybe put me on mute if you just want to look at the pretty pictures. As I've always described, Blade of the Immortal to me has the most beautiful death scenes I've ever seen in any medium. They're gorgeous, and oh my god. But anyway, if you've read these and you've caught up, this particular volume kind of starts bringing things together. So, just a quick recap, you have the character of Rin, and you have Manji, her bodyguard. Rin's parents were killed by the Ito Ryu a couple of years before this story takes place. And all the Ito Ryu is a group of it's a samurai, or a school of sword that have become this rebellious group. Now, they have their own drives and their own purposes, and you get to find out exactly why they think the way they do. And all of them are being led by this young man right here, Onatsu. He's a 20-something-year-old young master of the sword. Now, Rin has sworn to avenge her parents' death. And her and Manji have teamed up for the previous volumes and have killed about a dozen or so Ito Ryu. Meaning that this character right here has killed off a lot of his men. So this is a big reveal at the end of the previous volume where we see Onatsu find this unconscious girl. And it turns out to be Rin. Now, Rin, of course, recognizes who he is, but does he recognize this young girl that he left behind as an orphan? All of that will be revealed when you read this book. It's awesome. Like, that particular reunion was great. And the more you read about this, the more you get to focus less and less on Manji and all his badassness, chopping people up. That's still in here. But you focus more on the other characters, like Onatsu. You get to see his drive, like I was mentioning. You also have the return in this volume of one of my favorite characters. She's one of the strongest female characters in this book, and that is Maki. And now we haven't seen her since I guess volume 1 or 2 of this particular deluxe editions. So she's back now. Oh, and she's such a badass. I love her character. But of course, you also have the return of Manji. Now, the thing with Manji is that he is immortal. And Manji, he's the bodyguard of Rin. He, in order to get rid of this curse, I know immortality is not as cool as it's supposed to be according to this book, and if you read it you'll see why. So he has the power to regenerate his body, whether it's cut, whether his pieces are just hacked away. His body can regenerate because of these magical worms, and you can read all about that. Now that curse will go away. There he is right there, being the badass that he always is. Look at Manji, listen, kill everyone. Oh, I love this story. But in order to get rid of this curse, he has to kill 1,000 souls. That's the way to get rid of the curse. So of course he teams up with Rin, and that's how he's getting up there in the numbers. Now, remember when I said he's immortal, he can regenerate? Well, in this particular story arc, the villains have found a poison that makes him impossible to regenerate. So it's like they found his Achilles heel. And oh man, it's so good. Now, in this particular volume, you also get to see this one character, Kagemura here, who we have been hearing about and how much of a badass he is, how ruthless he is, and you get to see all of that play out here. So that's basically what this volume is, and like I said, this is the way the covers are collected. And unfortunately, that's the way all the covers are collected. You don't have the color, which is a shame. It does come with a ribbon. Each of the books comes with a ribbon, and you all know how I feel about ribbons. Just wish that they had kept the colors intact. I don't imagine them actually later on printing, the final volume with all the covers in color. And even the pinups that you'll find towards the end here are in black and white. And our next volume coming out soon, also in black and white. 736 pages and $49.99. Both of these books, by the way, I don't think I need to say it, but just in case, definitely mature content for the violence, the sexual content, the language, and just, in case you have little ones and you want them to read manga, Maybe not for them. Berserk, Volume 10. I have such a history with this book. Goes back to 1998 when I watched the series. I talk about this all the time, but I have to. Intact are the original posters that were originally collected in volumes 28, 29, and 30. I've always loved this image. Will I ever hang it up, tear this out of the book and hang it up? Hell no. Maybe if I get an extra copy or I don't know. But I've always loved that image. And these originally came in volumes 28, 29, and 30, and now they've been blown up to match the scale of this wonderful edition. The best way to own this book is in this deluxe edition. And I know that, the European editions are beautiful, the South American editions are beautiful, the Spanish leather-bound editions have the actual colors intact. But after talking to one of the editors that put this together, the route they went with the paper made perfect sense. Like, this is matte paper. And matte paper for Miura style is perfect because it absorbs all that black. So the contrast between light and darkness is just perfection in this format. You couldn't do that with glossy paper. I've talked about the differences in paper, and some people are wondering, like, man, it's a $50 book. Why the hell isn't it a glossy paper? I know. I think we've come to this understanding in collected editions that the better the paper usually means it's glossy paper, but that's not usually the case. Sometimes with black and white artwork, the art really stands out when it's in this flat matte paper because of that absorption. The amount of details that you can tell, I think, would be lost in gloss paper, not just because it's drowning with the glow of the light, but it doesn't do the job that this here helps define. All the different lines, all the cross-hatching. You wouldn't appreciate Miura's art as much. But yeah, I have a long history with this story. I was one of the first people to review the manga when it came over to America. And I was the first person that had an advanced copy of the deluxe edition when it came out. And that video, like I said, was like my #1 video. And it's back. All the manga videos are back. But you all don't... I'm not a hipster. I'm not like, oh man, Berserk is popular. I remember when it meant something. No. I had a fear that Volume 3 would be the last one to be published in America. I didn't think people were reading Berserk. I didn't think people would care. I didn't think it would sell. How could it fail in Japan after one season and make it in America? And then I remember people, I remember somebody writing me a letter about Berserk in my article that appeared, and they were like, man, thanks for letting me know about this book. It's crazy good. And I remember I kept that letter for a long time. But do you all know how damn proud I am to have all these people like email me or message me, leave on the comments, thank you for introducing me to this world of Kentaro Miura. There are channels built just on the fact how amazing Berserk is. There are people making videos about Berserk. Like, that's so awesome. Like, it's become almost like a household name. And to go back 20 plus years, 1998, and then when I first started reviewing, I think it was 2003 when I reviewed the manga when it came out to America. Like, I never saw that coming. To me, I thought it was going to be gone. I didn't think it would last. I thought it would be canceled. So it makes me damn proud to have helped just a little bit in making Berserk popular. But here we are, Volume 10 of the deluxe edition. Rest in peace, Kentaro Miura. It's so heartbreaking to talk about these particular books when the creator's gone and we don't know the future. We don't know if they're going to continue. And, you hear things here and there. We don't know what the estate is going to decide to do. My thoughts on this has always been, I'm okay with the story not ending. I'm okay with the idea that Guts always has to pick up his sword, get up every day, and slash away at the demons that haunt him and his friends. Because that's what life is, right? We got to keep moving forward. We can't fall back. So I'm okay with that particular ending in my head. I don't need it wrapped up. I don't need sunshine and rainbows ending. I'm okay with the idea that the fight will never end. Now, of course, I'm probably alone. Most people want it wrapped up. But, I mean, do we want to go the Game of Thrones ending route? I don't know. Only Miura knew, right? Only he knew, and I'm sure a handful of others that he told, like his editors. But here we are. This is volume... I'll talk a little bit about just volume 28, where we were. You saw a new armor, the Berserker. Now you get to find out the true meaning of Berserk. So, just in case you don't want to know anything about this, I guess I should have said spoilers, but I'm pretty sure by now, if you're letting me flip through the book, you kind of know it's understood that I'm going to talk a little bit about spoilers, not really give much away. But this armor is now eating away at him, which makes him look older. That's why he has this gray hair. You're like, wait a minute, why does Guts look a lot older? Well, this armor comes with a price. This is the kind of a slowdown at first. You know, we got these nice little moments between Shirky and Guts. Giant crocodiles come in, standing on their hind legs, and he's hacking away at crocodiles. Nice little slow-paced scenes here, which we needed after the previous volumes. And then we get to volume 29 and 30. We see the return of some characters that we hadn't seen in a while. We see the return of, like, Zurazan, which we haven't seen him since, you know, he was with Lady Farnese and Serpico, but now we see him. We see a little cameo of him, and then he shows up. Because I remember when I was reading this, I was like, wait a minute, that's... Azan, why isn't he part of the story? And then later on he shows up. We see the introduction of a new character named Roderick. And I'm sure you're probably noticing, who is this small child? Who kind of looks like Casca? Maybe Griffith? Maybe Guts? I don't know. Keep reading. It's a hell of a journey. One of my favorite things about this volume, though, by now is, besides, of course, the creepy factor. That's creepy as hell. It's the architect. The beautiful details. I mean, it almost looks like a MC Escher right here. Like, that is freaking awesome. And to have it in this format, this big, full format. I wish I had my Tonka Bonds available. They're still in boxes. But I can show you the differences like I normally do. It's just amazing. No other way to capture it. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous book. Lady Farnese has to make decisions here. Does she stay behind, or does she keep continuing and helping Guts in this journey that her and Serpico are on? What's she gonna do? So, of course, towards the end of this begins the boat saga, and for most of us that were reading this every time it was coming out, we all know how damn long that boat saga took. So here's the cover gallery to the awesome Berserker armor, volume 28, 29, and 30. And then, of course, this bio's sad, man. The bio, you know, it used to be something else. There was one in every book. The end of every deluxe edition, and now it's... Can't remember. I don't think it was in volume 9. But Yura Sensei died unexpectedly on May 6, 2020. It's almost been a year. Damn. Here's all the volumes, and yeah, right now I don't know how they're gonna handle, you know, volume 14. How they're gonna make it, you know, into one of these, if they're gonna add all the extras that they had in the previous volumes, what exactly they're gonna do when they bring it to America. I mean, right now it's all up to Dark Horse and the translators, and of course the estate and the original publishers of the book. Right now it's kind of up in the air. 648 pages of this badass dark fantasy. Not for Berserk, there would be no Dark Souls or Demon Souls or Elden Ring that you're playing right now. If not for Berserk, this channel wouldn't be as big as it is. Thank you all for watching. That, as they say, is that. If you are interested in purchasing either of these books, don't forget to check out our sponsor, cheapgraphicnovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget that CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know near mint condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content and build of each of these deluxe editions. Let me know in the comments down below which ones you're picking up. If you're picking up both of them, that would be great. If you've read these stories before, if you're upgrading your Tonkabon, I would love to know all those answers in the comments down below. If this is your first time going through this journey of Berserk or Blade of the Immortal, by all means, leave those comments down below. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, ring that bell for notifications to let you know when our videos are going live. We are on Spreadshop and Patreon, amazing ways to support the channel if you can do so. And more importantly, all of you, stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.